right. Since Boris Johnson was busted boozing inside number 10 Downing Street in the middle of a nationwide lockdown in 2020, the Labour leader there, Sir Keir Starmer, well, he's been picking up in the polls, but with performances like this the other day, Starmer's ascendancy could soon evaporate. Have a look at this response when asked one of the most basic questions by British journalist LBC's Nick Ferrari.
A woman can have a penis.
Nick, I'm not. I don't think we can conduct this debate with, you know.
Sorry, have I offended you in some?
No. It's just I just.
A woman can have a penis.
I don't think that discussing this issue in this way helps anyone in the long run.
Well, for Wednesday night common sense, let's bring in the New South Wales One Nation leader, Mark Latham. Mark, we saw this with Joe Biden's Supreme Court nominee, a woman, last week refusing to define what a woman is. And now we've got this cringeworthy contribution out of the UK. The left used to champion women's rights. What's happened?
Well, they're not following the science. They've thrown biological science out the window. But, you know, it's a sad moment, isn't it, to look at Keir Starmer there, unable to say the obvious, that a woman can't have a penis, a man can't have a vagina. These are just obvious facts of the world in which we live. And to see the once great British Labour Party deteriorate to that level of confusion and woke nonsense, you know, you think of what Attlee, Crossland, Blair would think about a leader who can't state the obvious. And it's a sad, sad situation. You know, seemingly observable truths in our society and for many on the left of politics are dispensable, replaced by a woke determination not to offend anyone. And that's no basis
but
on
they
which
do
to
offend
lead.
people.
And in the case of,
They do offend people. This is the thing. In trying to dance around the issue of the very small numbers of trans people in Australia, in the UK, around the world, by going out of their way to give them comfortable language, they offend women. I mean, this idea that women are now pregnant people, that we can't say breastfeeding, that a bloke like Starmer who wants to lead a country can't have a conversation about what a woman is, and a young girl can't play sport against other young girls only. If we're in this situation, we're offending 99% of women in this country, just not to offend a handful of trans people. And I don't think you go after trans people, but you don't denigrate women either.
Well, the woke agenda is not to offend the smallest group you can find, and that's true of Starmer. But your point about women are right. There is a clash between female rights and transgender rights. It plays out in those swimming meets in the United States, where a woman is denied the chance to be on the top blocks or to even participate in the final. And most distressingly, it plays out in contact sports. You know, one of the big developments, and we're seeing this in Australian sport, is more girls and women playing rugby league, AFL, cricket, where brute strength matters for the fast bowlers. And if there are men who've decided they couldn't cut it in the men's sport and they go play as women, then they can drive girls, teenage girls, out of the sport and they'll never compete again because they literally get bashed up by the greater size and power of the man playing as a woman. So the feminist agenda, so-called, has got to defend female rights against this push by men who couldn't cut it in male sport to flip over and say they're women.
Yeah, and it's driving a division inside the feminist movement on the left. If you're on the right, you're comfortable in defending the rights of women. But if you're on the left now, you're caught in this sort of, very difficult conversation that none of them are brave enough to have about the rights of women that we've fought for so long to have up against these new emerging rights of trans people. And I think that's the difficult place they're in. Talk to me about this woke idiocy inside the New South Wales Public Service on birth certificates.
Well, we hear about virtue signalling, Peter, and what does it mean in substance? It's always about the person who's doing the signalling to try and make out they've got this moral virtue that's greater than anyone else. It's not really about the people that they might be trying to help. And there's an example in New South Wales where they've paid an artist, they paid for a promotional exercise for a genderless rainbow birth certificate. Now, One of the features of birth certificates, of course, that identifies it male or female. But New South Wales has produced, in a distraction from their real job, the genderless rainbow birth certificate, and the grand total of people who've taken it up and want a copy of this thing, 12. That's all. In
How many?
State of 7.5 million people, just 12, which just shows you the futility and distraction and uselessness of virtue signalling. It's not about the people, in this case just 12, who want the certificate. It's about those doing it, and they really should get back to their day job and fix some of the service delivery problems we have in the New South Wales public sector.
And leave the language contortions alone. Mark Latham, brilliant as always. See you next week.